Return to start.
Okay, gotcha.
She's coming home, right?
Yep.
Save trip. And then save. Okay, is she going to have parking at the airport?
Yes. She estimated $72 for that.
Okay.
She also, for getting around in Wilmington, she's not going to rent a car, but I think just kind of use Uber or whatever. So she requested
taxi.
About 100.
Okay, taxi car service.
And it's okay not to include a description?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Hotel?
Carol, on those descriptions, if they wanted to include something, they could, though.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
If they needed to add some additional explanation.
Information. Okay.
Yeah, from an accounting perspective, we enjoy
Sure.
additional.
Gotcha.
We can go back and edit that. Okay. Okay, so this notice on this, when you click conference rate, it's asks you to make sure when we get finished, we're going to have to go back and add the conference brochure, and it tells you we have to add that at the header level. For these pre-approvals, all the attachments are at the header level.
Okay.
Which is different from the expense report, but
Gotcha.
we're trying to tell you there how you add that. So, pay attention to these little messages along the way.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to do the calculate since it's a conference rate. You can just put the estimated amount.
Okay.
For the entire trip. And that you can or you don't have to put the taxes in.
Okay.
It probably depends on how tight your budget is.
Gotcha.
I think Gayla told me that most people don't estimate the taxes because they don't know.
Gotcha.
So,
she's already made her reservation, so she had the documentation.
Okay, so hit save. Okay, her meals. Use the wizard, yeah. You don't have to add it, yeah. Is she going to be in the same city the entire time?
She is. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Add entries. Okay, so what this did, it automatically did the per diem rate for that city.
Mm-hmm.
It gave you 75% on day of departure, day of return.
Right.
So at this point, do you have the conference brochure, the conference schedule, so you know if there are meals that are being paid for by the conference?
I do not.
Okay. If you did, you could go ahead and click on each day.
I see.
And if they included lunch every day, you would click and then just click into it so we can look at it. You would select the lunch, to deduct the lunch.
Just for instance, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so see, it adjusted the amount. So that's how you would do that.
Okay.
Okay, so what you want to do now, you add to report. Yeah. If you know that up front, it makes it easier on the back end.
Sure.
Okay, so to shift conference registration.
Yes.
Okay, that'll be professional development.
Okay.
Okay, does that 1759.99 look like what you had estimated?
You had estimated a little bit less than that. I'm right off the top of my head, I'm not figuring what the difference is, but look, I think she had a different total for Wilmington, so or per diem, meal per diem for some reason. But yeah, so that looks good.
Okay, so at this point, okay, we need to go back to the header and attach that conference brochure. So no, don't click the back button, but hover over 2023 Atlantic Marketing, click there to take us back to the header screen.
Okay.
Scroll to the bottom and click Upload Attachments. And this is where you will attach the hotel conference rate.
Carol, I think Wilmington is 59. I was looking away for a moment. Do we select Wilmington on that per diem?
That's what she had in here, it was 59, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. So that's what I'm showing when I'm looking it up. I'm wondering, did we actually select Wilmington just then when you
We
went
did.
in?
Let me
Okay.
do this
Yeah.
and I'll go back to it.
Yeah, Carol and I'll, it may just, it's 79. It's the highest rate that you could have in per diem.
Right.
Which is which is our max, but it looks like it's 59. So we might look at that.
Okay.
But that explains your difference.
Yep.
Well, is it 59? Do you think that there are going to be new rates? Or new tables or something that Chrome River is looking at a new rate?
Um,
Have you seen anything that says the rates are going up September 1st?
no, I haven't, and that would be a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Carol. We can talk about that after this.
Well,
But
click on location. Let's click on location and back that out and try searching again. And let's see what our options are.
Delaware, Massachusetts, Illinois, North Carolina, Ohio, Vermont, Massachusetts, Delaware.
Well, I would just go ahead and select North Carolina and let the highest rate go in for right now because that's all we have to go on.
Yes. I'm wondering, Carol, that might be something to discuss after, but it looks like it pulled in the highest rate.
Okay, we'll just hit save. This is just an estimate.
Yep.
Okay, so at this point, we've attached the conference brochure. That was our only thing to do. So you can hit the submit button if you're submitting on her behalf. So it's going to route immediately back to her for her to approve this.
I mean, unless you want to see something from this point forward, I can wait and I'll go in and fill in some details for accounting if they prefer that later. Or do you want to go ahead and see it?
No, it didn't matter to me. I mean,
Okay.
Okay, so that's what you would do is see it's very high level. It's pretty easy. You would hit the submit button and it will start the approval routing.
Okay.
Now, if you'll go back hover under the Emburse Chrome River to go back to your dashboard. What you're going to do, and this is, of course, we're sitting in draft. Once the approval has been received, let me share my screen with you. Let me find, because I'll show you what the email looks like because I did one in test the other day. Right here. She will get an email like this and it'll come from this email address. It looks wonky, but chromeriver.com. It says the following pre-approval has been approved. And this is where I was playing in our test environment. So she will know at that point, once travel has approved it, she'll get the email. Now, as a delegate, I don't know if you're going to receive the email also. That's a good, if you would let me know, so I'll know how to tell future people. But that's what will happen. So she will know at that point that the trip has been approved. Let me show you. I'm going to show you one more thing in Chrome River. Let me drag that over here.
I did submit one of
Oh.
these the other day, and I did receive the email, like the confirmation that it was approved
As
for
the
an out of
delegate?
state. Yes. Mhm.
Oh, okay. So, what you here, let me go. Let me get back. Let me go in. I'm going to pretend I'm you then, Andrea. I have some test data, but I don't have so you have one that's already been approved. What you would do when you get ready to do your expense report after the trip is over, you will click this create. And this is what we did not talk about in the end state, but is this for you? Are you traveling?
It's a 4-person thing. So if you click on mine and go into my delegates, all of those have one also. That one's under my name.
But you're
But there are
going on the
also,
trip. You're going
yes,
on the trip. Okay. Got
there
it.
are also several others.
Okay. So what you would do after you complete your trip, this import the pre-approval.
Mm.
So you would import it and then it will give you, you will only see it after it's been approved. So you would click that and notice it's going to bring in everything that you typed in on the pre-approval. And then let me stick that over there. And then you would say import. And at that point, I'm going to do it. And then it tells you this is what you said you were going to spend. And then as you enter things, it's what you actually spent. So once you save that, I'm going to delete it. Notice everything came in on the left-hand side. So that's why I was saying on your, which looks like you did that here, you took out, I guess all the meals were paid for on that day. So you just probably got the per diem, I guess. I mean, the incidental. But everything comes in. So notice everything came in because it's going to need attention. So you're going to have to go through here and click on every one of these and see what the problem is. And the problem probably is because the expense is not within your trip start and stop date. So, okay, 10 to 10. Okay, so let me delete this. Let me go back and look at the pre-approvals. Was that already there?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay,
I'm doing another one. But there's yeah.
let's go back into this one and look. That's interesting about that. I don't know why you got the error message on the date. It's probably the date you entered it. So you probably are just going to have to adjust that date on the expense report. But you would go through each one of those line items. Go back. You would go through each one of those line items on the when it's up here in this draft form and attach all of the receipts to get the green check marks all the way down, and then you would submit it. So the reason why it's important that you import, if you do not import that pre-approval and you just type it in for your out-of-state trip, it's going to give you a message that you should have had a pre-approval and it's going to route through the president because Chrome River thinks you did not have a pre-approval and it's an exception to the travel policy. So it's going to route up through him. So we don't want to bombard him with things that don't need to go to him. So make sure you import that pre-approval. If you have money left over after you travel, um, it will just hang out there unless you expire it, or these will automatically expire after a year, which means if that's kind of good because then if you have forgot to, when you did the expense report, you forgot, let's say you forgot to estimate parking or something, and then you had an expense for parking, it allows you to kind of go back in and add additional expense reports for one pre-approval. So that's why it's kind of good for that, to leave that out there. So once that's approved, you will start seeing that it'll say partially paid after you do an expense report. If you only did a expense report for $2,000, you would still have $43 left. It would say partially paid. I'm trying to think of who might have one that we could look at. Who have I done recently? I've done so many. Let me just go back to me. It's not coming to me. Let's see if I don't have any. Let's see if I've got some in the QA environment. I'm in the testing, so it says testing. No, I've got 2 that are waiting. I was trying to get some data out there in case people didn't have something to play with. But it would say partially paid is all it would say. So you can do multiple expense reports against one pre-approval. If you are finished with the expense report and there's still money hanging out here and you are finished and you want to kind of just see it go away, you can hit this expire button, and that just means it's an expired pre-approval. You can't use it again. And some of the reason I was telling you to put the dates is because if you ever have to search back in time, if they travel a lot. If they don't travel a lot, I wouldn't worry about it. But if they travel a lot, you may want to might be easier to find all the trips that were in 2023. Otherwise, they're probably going to sort differently. So that's all. That was pretty much all I wanted to show you is how to do out of state or out of country is the same way. Do you all have any questions? Bring the video up.
Carol, I have one.
Okay.
I have a graduate student that's getting ready to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And are we ready to do graduate students through this program yet?
Students are a little different.
Okay.
We did not load students into Chrome River.
Okay.
Tell me the person's name. Let me just double check. Hang on, let me get to where I can look.
Carol, since they're a graduate assistant, do we load the graduates like the employees?
I don't think we did, but give me the name and let me.
Let's see. His first name is Sean.
Sean?
Uh-huh.
What's the last name?
I think it's Benson.
No. Okay. No. So we did
Yeah.
not load students. So let me share my screen again. This is how you can do it in Chrome River, or you can continue to do it through dynamic forms.
Okay. Because I have it out there in dynamic forms, and it's gone through approvals, but
Yeah.
if it's better for me to go this way, then I will go ahead and redo it and send it this way if that's what y'all like.
Well, Henrietta, if it's already in dynamic forms,
Yes.
what we're trying to do is anything you submit in dynamic forms as a travel authorization, we're gonna do it through dynamic forms. And vice versa for Chrome River. If you started in Chrome River, we're gonna do it all in Chrome River. So so we can keep consistency.
That's fine.
So if you've already done a TA in dynamic forms, we're not gonna do an expense report in Chrome River.
That's fine. That was the only question I had.
Okay. I don't know how Ben feels about this. We did build this for students, even though we didn't load them. However, it is different. So I don't know if it would be best at this point, since we are so new to Chrome River. Let's just get the basics down.
Mhm.
And keep running students and graduate assistants through dynamic forms until you're very proficient in what you're doing for faculty.
Okay.
And at that point, then we can try to migrate the students in. But all you would do down here, you're going to have to do students. When we do go live, students and visitors will have to be done in your name.
Okay.
So it would be like, student travel, or you'd list their names, and I'm just going to put, Allison something. I don't know our student worker's last name, but, and you would say student or visitor. This is where you would designate. So if you put student, it's going to say what's their M number
Okay.
and what's their name.
Okay. Good.
But everything else would be the same. You would say, you'd probably put them as administrative,
Okay.
because they're probably not going out of the country. And then you would, okay, so let's just say administrative. I'm just, because I'm administrative out of state. And then when you do the expense report for them, you will do it the same way. You will select student, and then you will put their name in. And when it comes to, so it's going to go through Chrome River as if it's you, but
Correct.
when it exports to Banner, it's going to export with their M number and their name, and the check will be cut to the student.
Okay.
But that's how it will happen. And if you want to go ahead and experiment, that's fine. If you want to wait and get the faculty all on board and really understand it, you can continue doing students in dynamic forms for now.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. What else do we have?
So we sometimes have visitors, just like you're pointing out, that are candidates that are coming in to interview. They typically don't have an M number in the past, at least until after we, submitted their travel and their W-9 and all that. So how do we handle that going forward in Chrome River?
I think we said you were going to have to reach out to travel and have them set up the M number.
So we'll still need a W-9 from the candidate, each one of them that come in, that'll have expenses to be reimbursed.
Is it
Yes.
still asking for an M number?
Yes, the one downside that I see with Chrome River versus dynamic forms for visitor travel. Sorry. For visitor travel is that they don't verify through the forms. And so that, I think what Carol and I've discussed is having them email, because we want them to verify what they have as far as their expenses go. So having them verify what those expenses are and then attaching something in here. So that's the one thing that I'm not as big a fan of about it. But yes, we can build the vendor number for you prior, like if it's sent to Gayla or Megan. And then we can route it through Chrome River. But it's like students, like Carol was talking about. I think it might be best to start with dynamic forms until we're proficient, and then migrate here to Chrome River.
So at least through the fall semester, let's continue doing students and visitors in dynamic forms. And then maybe by spring, we can start incorporating the student part. Because it is different. And like Ben said, there is no routing in Chrome River for students and visitors. It will not route to a student email address. It will not route to a visitor email address. It routes internally. So you have to get their email certifying their expenses outside of Chrome River and then attaching that email to the documents. So what else do we have?
I had a question about supporting documentation. In dynamic forms, we put it all in one PDF and attach it. What format do you need supporting documentation in?
Oh, well, for the okay, so for the pre-approval, the only thing that I believe that you have to attach is that conference brochure. However, if you want to attach as much as you can, you can. The pre-approval documents, images, will not go to Banner. So when you do your expense report, each image has to come in with each expense, which is a little bit different. So when you're on the hotel tab, let's see if I've got a draft out there. I probably don't have much. Actually, I don't have anything. So let me just add an expense. So if I go into the lodging tab, I'm going to have to attach my lodging receipt here. And when I'm in the car rental or the parking, I'm going to have to attach it at each individual level. And then when you're looking at the header screen here on the header, if you scroll down, you'll see all those attachments down here. Also on the expense report for the conference, hotel conference rate, I know we attached it on the pre-approval, but you also need to attach it on the lodging tab because this is what's going to go to BDMS, and this is what our state auditors look at. They don't look at the documents that are attached to the pre-approval, and they will not have access to Chrome River. They're looking solely at Banner. So, yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
I think for us, this is going to be a big win. I think it'll be a little bit of getting used to having to attach multiple lines. But for review purposes and future discussions on when something gets adjusted or some differences, it's going to be a lot simpler to review it. And for us, it's going to make a big difference for accounting services.
And what I'm also seeing in my little trainings that I've been doing sporadically, before they submit the item, they'll go in here and do this PDF view. And I can't remember who I was working with, but they just scrolled through it to make sure nothing was highlighted as being a problem. I think, and I don't even remember what it was that was a problem, but there was a warning on the PDF that it wasn't clearly visible here. And I can't remember what it was, but you know, just maybe you might want to peruse that because this is the data that's going to go to BDMS for state audit. It's whatever we have in this PDF. What else?
I had a question about the recall button. Is that something that is okay to use once you submit it and call it back to you and then, is that something to avoid? I just was unsure
No.
about that. Okay.
Oh, all it's going to do is if it's already routed through the chair, and you recall it at that point, it's going to come back and it's going to go in your draft folder. So you
Okay.
can edit it and then you can resubmit it. So what you might want to do is put a comment down here if you did recall one and as to why you recalled it and you edited it and now you're readjusting it. So your approver, when they get the email, can see your comment because they may say, I've already approved that.
Okay.
And that might tell them why. So also, once you submit one, let's see if I got some. Always, you can click here and go back to your dashboard. So here's my submitted ones. These exported ones are the ones I've already sent to Banner. Let's see. You can always, after you submit it, you can click the tracking button. And you can see where it went. And notice down here is the rule it's on. This is the reports to. This is another gatekeeper. I told you not to worry about the gatekeeper rules. And then it went to the travel office. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see the routing rule. So you kind of know where it is. So if somebody, I had one just the other day. It was somebody split. And Andrea, I think this might have been with you, Steve Livingston. So I think Andrea submitted it and it routed to political science as his report to, but then it routed back to the College of Business for index approver because Dr. Heems was the index approver. So, and I think it's because he shared between the two departments. So it did go both places, which I think is okay. I mean, it just shows his HR approver knows that he's traveling, and then it's also, it went to the index approver who's paying for the trip. They knew and they approved it also. So the routing took care of that. If you do see something routing to someone and you don't think that's correct, you can reach out and we'll look at it. That index approver is something that we maintain over here in our office, and we upload that to, oh, it didn't go to index approver here, probably because on my example, it was the same person. My reports to and my index approver were the same person, because they don't approve twice. But for example, I think the question came up about Livingston's expense report or pre-approval, I can't remember. Questioned if it was Dr. Heems that should sign it or if it should be Marat, if that's his name. And so our records show it should be the dean, but if you see something that it shouldn't be that way, contact me, and I usually get with the budget office. Sometimes we get with Becky Cole and we say, hey, who is responsible for this money? And then we'll adjust our spreadsheet if we need to and update Chrome River. I've also found some things, and I'll just go ahead and warn you, I think College of Business is okay. But we have found some problems with our person feed that went to Chrome River. But we're working with ITD on that. But I think College of Business is all okay. If you ever try to log in and it won't log in with single sign-on, then reach out to me and let me know. But I'm working with ITD and we're trying to get that fixed. But I think you guys are okay. And it all happened with the July 31st, August 1st chair dean changes. Our logic needs tweaking so that we have it all right. So, but I think because your dean came in early, you're okay. That mouse for me to watch. Okay, any other questions?
My chair asked if he would be able to see the information once he's approved it. Like, would he be able to go back and see it?
It should. Well, there is a report. I remember asking this, but I haven't looked at it in a long time. So over here, if you click that, you'll get a menu selection. And I'm not sure what all you all have access to. Is anybody logged on so they can see? Do you have, Emily, did you have a reports? Are you still logged in?
So
I can't hear.
Besides
you
what we
don't,
did
Andrea?
today. I do not have reports.
Okay, I tell you what, let me stop sharing and let you share your screen. One of you, Andrea, if you're logged in, somebody can share, and so I can see what your screen looks like. Okay.
Can you see that one?
I can see.
Yeah.
All right, well, I probably, if somebody needs to go back, let me know who they are. I can enable a reporting feature. Click inquiry. That's probably just your inquiries. Click expenses. Yeah, I think it's just for you, not for my expense approve. Click that my expenses in the approval process with each line item's allocation information. Yeah, I can enable this feature called reports for the chairs that want to go back and look at that. They also should have their email that showed that somebody sent something to them. I don't know if the email would be sufficient. It appears that reports are turned off, but I can turn it on. I think it'll stick. would have to experiment with it. So Emily, was that you?
That was, yes, thank you.
So if you want to just send me the email of the person's name, and I'll do it, and I'll try to keep an eye on it and see if it, because we upload the person file every day and it overlays. So I'll have to see if that reports gets overlaid. Figure that out.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Let me just, if no one has anything else, I just want to recap the notes I wrote. So for the fall semester, we're going to treat visitors and students via the dynamic form is how they will be approved and expensed. And for the pre-approvals, we're only uploading or only required to upload the hotel rate. And then we upload and attach everything on our expense reports because that's what hits Spanner. And best practices, review the PDF. And I've heard of one more and want to run it by you to make sure it's okay. For folks that are submitting or is a delegate as their chair and a delegate of the whole faculty, you know, so that they can review things first. So if the executive assistant enters the travel as a delegate of a faculty member, or they are a delegate, but the faculty member actually enters it. Either way, the executive assistant can see it and post a comment that says reviewed, ready for chair on that header screen. That way, when your chair sees it, they know that not to approve it until they see your comment that says reviewed, ready for chair. Would that be a best practice potentially, depending on how each department operates?
True. If you guys are going to do all the entry, yeah, I mean,
I think some departments do, and other departments, their faculty do it. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think that works. I think on the email, the approver can see the comments on his email because most people are probably going to approve it through email. They're not going to log into Chrome River. So yeah, people are doing it different ways. So if you're going to have the faculty enter it, that's fine. Then the faculty member does not need to submit it. Only you all on this call would submit it. So yes, so if one got submitted prior and there was no comment on it and the chair caught it and came to you and, you know, say, have you seen this? And you're like, no. At that point, you can go in as that person. You can look at their submitted either PAs or pre-approvals or expense reports. And if it looks okay, you can just tell the chair it's okay. Or you can recall it and then add your notes. And when you submit it, it's going to route to the faculty member, then to the reports too. So just kind of be aware of what that does. I mean, Chrome River will handle it either way.
Great.
But if you do have faculty member that are going to be uploading their receipts, you just have to see what works for your department. If they want to use their wallet, and you would bring it in from the wallet, attach it from the wallet. You don't have to upload it. Just do what's easiest for your area. If it's easier for them just to give you all the stuff and you do a PDF and you upload it, then fine, keep doing that. But if they're doing it and they want to send it to the wallet, you'll just pull it in from the wallet. You just have to figure out what works. Okay, or at 9:45, anything else?
We really appreciate you guys taking the time out to do this and get us trained and all on the same page. I think it's going to be great. It already has so many fantastic features that are going to make our lives easier too.
Okay, just please reach out if you have any questions. We did have one yesterday, actually. Someone submitted an expense report, and it was 1-day travel, and they put the entire day of per diem on it. And so I saw it out there because I've been kind of watching things right now to make sure everything's flowing. So I reached out to Megan and Gayla. I said, hey, you guys aren't allowing that now, are you? And they're like, no. So what they did when it got to the travel office, they just marked it back. So, and it came to Banner marked back, thank heavens. And although we had tested it, it's nice to see it live in production work like you tested it. So if you do see something that's you did not get paid what was on the expense report, you could always look back at, look at it and see where it was marked back, because surely they're going to make notes on there on why they marked it back. That's how you could research why. Okay. Well, just please call if you have questions or something's not working. We'll get through this. Okay.
Good seeing you guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.